So I woke up this morning realizing I haven't shot a vlog in so long. Not indoors, not outdoors. The reason being my not having a mic. So whenever I went outside to shoot a vlog, I spoke directly into my iPhone's inbuilt mic and I knew that it isn't going to cut it anymore. I even had some emails coming through in my inbox asking if they could help with the voice aspect of my videos because that's crappy. And I said, no, that is not the right way of going about it. I'm going to get a mic instead. So I got a mic. I'm going to start vlogging more often, hopefully. I'm making this morning vlog just to give you some life updates about the things that I've been doing, the books that I've been reading, and what happened over the weekend. But first things first, I haven't been making any long format videos either, which is because I'm getting some wooden work installed in and around my workstation. So it's going to look a bit different, it's going to have a different kind of vibe. I definitely needed this like change of air because I've been shooting with the same plain background for a very long time. And I was like, it's not doing it for me anymore. I asked my dad to get something done and he's always at the ready to do stuff for me. That's what dads are like, isn't it? And also about the book that I've been reading. So I am heavily invested into philosophies because when you start reading a book, you can start with simple stuff, self-helps or maybe storybooks or anything that interests you like novels. But later you're like, what's next? What is there for me to read now that I've attained a certain level? And that is when you start reading philosophies. And I've been trying to read many philosophies over the course of the last 2 months, even before that, but on and off. Now I'm trying to stay consistent. I'll actually show you the book that I'm reading right now. And the philosopher's called, the great man's called Nietzsche, if you've ever heard his name. I'm not pronouncing it exactly the way Germans would pronounce it, but I think that's what Americans pronounce it like, Nietzsche. So I'm going to show you the book, and it has a really twisted name, and it has such an interesting story to it. But reading philosophy is not a piece of cake. That is the problem. And talking about cakes, I want to tell you that I don't have a sweet tooth at all. This is like an itty-bitty information about me. I don't have a sweet tooth. I don't like sweets. I don't like any Indian sweets for that matter. By the way, I think Indian sweets are really delicious. But when it comes to cakes and ice creams, I just cannot hold back. And sometimes I have this big craving. And it is an emotional craving where I picture myself having a sheet cake on my lap with a spoon in my hand, where I start eating the cake from the middle. I don't know, it's very weird, but like I said, it's emotional, right? And emotional cravings are supposed to be weird. So I'm actually going to show you the cake that I got for myself over the weekend. I've been eating it since yesterday, and half of it is done. I just texted my baker girl to get me a cake customized with extra chocolate and extra moist. Nothing fancy, no decoration or anything, because I'm just going to have it all by myself. To show you that, to show you my book, and also show you my workstation. It's almost completely covered, so you wouldn't see the decoration that I'm getting installed. But I've got to make it quick because the woodworkers will be here anytime. So let's go into my room. Here. So I've eaten almost half of it since yesterday because I'm taking bites continuously. And like I said, I did want to start eating it from the middle because that's what I picture myself doing. But I didn't do that because I found that way I'd not like the look of it myself and I might not want to complete eating it. I just heard from my brother that he wants to take a bite as well. But the problem is that if I give him one bite, he's not going to stop there. He can have the whole thing by himself. So I'm going to eat it as fast as possible so he doesn't get his hands on it. Anyway, that's a little life update so you can see all the planks in here, the wooden planks. I'm getting some wooden work installed here so that I like studying and I like shooting vlogs and videos in this place more than I did earlier. It's like the whole idea. Definitely wanted to change, but everything is covered right now, but you can see the color. Those are lures. I'm going to show it to you. Definitely. You're the first person that I'm going to show it to you when it is done. Right now, I am not allowed to sit in here because it is still drying. So let's talk about the book. Here's the book that I was talking about earlier. Gay Science, and it's got nothing to do with the modern meaning of gay. It is actually Nietzsche, if you know anything about his writings, he really likes to talk about this absolute power, the death of God, beyond evil and good, the things that we usually know about because all of us know about the world, We just do not know it deeply enough, or we just do not know it how to apply those things to live a better life. He talks about those things. It is about morality, it is about power, and I'm going to tell you this is one of his best works. And the best part about this book is that it is not so opaque. So if you read other books from Nietzsche, for example, Good and Evil, I've tried reading that as well, like in the PDF format, because I kind of had my doubts that I won't be able to understand it and exactly that happened. So I feel like when you try to read really difficult philosophical work, you need to find a teacher. And I did the same for Immanuel Kant. Luckily, I did find a teacher, and I had like a couple of lessons talking to my teacher. But the teacher wasn't somebody who was willing to give me regular lessons on it. And also, he didn't have the time zone's different. But luckily, super luckily, I got to grab at least 2 chats with him. And he did help me with the approach which I should use reading such philosophies, especially Immanuel Kant. So that is how I was able to read Immanuel Kant's Critique of Practical Reason. I finished reading that. And when you read such hard books, because they're not going to teach you such hard books at universities, right? You have to do it all by yourself. And like I said, it requires having a teacher. However, whenever you complete it, however you complete reading it, you feel a sense of accomplishment that compares to nothing out there in the world. When you just begin reading, you can start with, baby steps like novels and self-help, but you cannot be interested by those books for a long time. The books do not have so much power to keep you hooked for the next 5-10 years. So you have to keep upgrading your read. And this is something that I talk about a lot. You have to keep upgrading. You have to keep piling things up. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of the difficulty of the book, it is about the idea. If you're reading a book which basically has one idea given in all of those 200, 300 pages, it's an easy book to read. Whereas when you read a book like Gay Science or Beyond Good and Evil, both books are written by Nietzsche, if I didn't mention that, you find a thought, a deep thought, really dense thought in every sentence that you read. And that is why the sense of accomplishment when you understand something, let alone understanding the whole book, even when you understand one thought that Nietzsche is trying to put forward, or like one paragraph of his thoughts, it's like, oh, okay, this was a productive day, It is equals to having a really productive day if you're able to read and understand what these philosophers are talking about. Nietzsche is not just one person who's able to write such dense material. There's several names out there. But if somebody asks me the question who my favorite philosopher is, I'd say Buddha. Hindi pronunciation, Buddha. Of all the philosophers and philosophies that I've known about, Buddha's philosophy of the middle path, that is the most practical, easy to understand, and easy to apply. I mean, Buddhism at its core is a very principle-based, principle-driven religion, but they try to make it super easy to understand and also to follow because, they have the commandments, like the 10 commandments, but they only expect people who are regular householders to follow the first 10, and all of the 10, or maybe like the final 5 are for those who are seers or sage, who are ascetics, who don't live in regular households like us. So Buddha is definitely, if you're looking to read philosophies and you're somebody from the East or from India, Buddha is my number one suggestion. You can go ahead and read that. And also the good thing about Buddha is that if you're an Indian, you'd find a lot of teachers who are going to be able to spend time teaching you what his philosophies were. And also, if you don't find a teacher, you'll be able to do it by yourself as well, that too easily, because his philosophies are very practical, application based. And so you just know what to do with your life once you read Buddha. So go ahead and read his work if you want to get started with philosophies. Now I'm going to finish reading this book, Gay Science, in a day or two, maybe today, if I don't have a lot of noise coming into my house from that wooden work. You know what I mean? The carpenter's going to be here in some time. And so I thought I'm going to have to shoot the vlog very quickly, because once they're here, you just cannot do anything that requires your undivided attention. Your attention just keeps deflecting. Now, I'm also going to have somebody called a glazier at my home later today. Glazier is a person who does the glass thing, sets the glasses. The glasswork person's also going to be here. I'm gonna show you the picture, or like maybe, make a video showing you my background when it is done. Right now it is just in the process. Nothing is completed. Alrighty. So that was about my day. If you have any questions about the books that I read in terms of philosophies, because I'd love to answer questions on philosophies, put them out. I'll try responding to them as soon as possible. I'm gonna go have breakfast. I'm also trying to fix my morning routine in terms of the food that I eat. The first meal has to be heavy and more elaborate than just biotin powder and a teaspoon of ghee that I used to have for a very long time. I did not take breakfast for a very, very long time. And also today, I only had one lesson to give in the morning. But do you know what time my lessons start usually? 6 a.m. So I have to wake up at 5 very early and spend the next 3-4 hours working on myself, reading, thinking about things, exercising a bit, and giving lessons. Now I'm changing it to working on myself, reading, exercising, giving lessons, plus having a breakfast. Alrighty, I'm gonna finish it off here. I'm gonna eat my cake that's right in front of me because I don't want my brother to come and attack it like a big ant. He can totally do that. I'm gonna see you again in the next one. The next video is going to be about body language, the tone of your voice, the micro expressions, the things that matter more than words. So stay tuned.